Hey everyone, what's going on? Nexius here, bringing you guys the results of 100 Hell Mephisto runs. This is the first step into Hell mode in terms of magic finding for my sorceress. So let's take a look and see if I got lucky in anything. So what I've basically done, as you can see, is I kept re-rolling the maps until I got a easy one, a nice safe one, since I'm playing hardcore. And what I would do is I would teleport with the stealth and then switch to the magic find armor after getting Mephisto trapped. So you can see here, I basically did this 100 times because it's the safest, easiest way to magic find in Hell mode without risking your life in terms of hardcore. So as you can see here, we start off with a run 13 with some soldier inner gloves. And I do check the chest in the back every once in a while. Pretty much every run actually. Same with the armor rack and the weapon rack as well. And I will go over the results of those later on as well. So as you guys can see here, I'm finally slowly getting to the identification. I do regret not identifying right away. I just want to see what's going on. And here we go. We have some soldier inners on run 13. Now a couple runs later on 16, we find a dark adherent. It's not that great of an armor, but the set itself is somewhat rare, sort of. So I figured I would mention the armor here. And then a couple runs later, actually next run on 17, we have the Crown of Thieves in addition to a couple of sets and uniques. The Crown of Thieves is quite decent for the mercenary, so I do want to show it off here. And the rares and stuff is pretty good for gold as well. I have everything here, it's just, I'm going to vendor it all because, well, I don't need it. So decent to show off the Crown of Thieves, decent to show off 2 sets and a unique, and the rare wand. So overall a decent run. Here we have a Talrash's belt on run 25, which is pretty good considering I did not find it yet. Now, of course, no surprise, I have no armor, no amulet yet of the set, but once I get them, it's going to be a great time, I think, in terms of magic finding. So as you can see here, I have 3 out of the 5 pieces so far. For run 34, we find a Geed's Fortune. This one is actually pretty good. It's not up at the top or perfect, but it is somewhere in the middle. As long as it's not low, I'm pretty happy. So finding a Geed's pretty early on is quite nice because I will be able to use it and maybe take off my shield or something else for something better and not worry about losing too much magic find. Now, a couple runs later on 42, we find an Oculus, and on the next run, 43, we find a Hell Rack, as you can see in the gameplay here. So we're getting pretty lucky here with some of the drops every couple of runs. Eventually, we come across a Trang Armor on run 50 and a Mav Belt on run 46. Now, I do want to mention these set items because I know some players like to collect the sets, and some of the pieces are valuable, so I do want to mention the class sets even though they are not that rare or that valuable. So the Trang Armor and the Mav Belt here. Trang Armor, run 50, Mav Belt, run 46. Now, as you guys can see here, the runs kind of take a little while here in terms of editing. I don't want to edit too much out, but you guys can basically see what's dropping. Here we have run 61, both a Corpse Mourn and a Lidless Wall. The Corpse Mourn isn't that strong, it's not that valuable, it's kind of crap, but the Lidless Wall is quite valuable in many different ways. Now here, the next run, we find a Lightsaber and Athena's Wrath on the same run. Athena's isn't that great, but it's kind of cool. Lightsaber, same thing, not that great, but it's kind of cool, and can be a potential upgrade if you're early on in progression, as say a Zeo Paladin or a Barbarian of some sort. Now the next run, we find some Drac gloves here, as you guys can see. So we have gone from 61, 62, 63, and now 64, we find a Griswold's Armor. So we're getting lucky in finding something of value every single run, and this is where the luck kind of ends a little bit, and we go into it run 69 with a unique ring. Take a guess what it is, think of the first unique in your mind. I bet you didn't think Menald Heal. It's always the Menald, it's always the Nagel. So one unique ring finally so far. And then here we have a Steel Shade on run 74. It's not that great, but it's a pretty rare unique, so I figured I would mention it here in this video. Now here on run 85, we find a Spell Steal, which is good for characters that need a teleport. If you don't have an Enigma, it's basically a budget Enigma, so I figured I would mention it. Now, as you can see here, I start switching back to the Stealth instead of using the Topaz Armor, and suddenly I find a Thunderstrokes on run 92. On run 94, I find a Djinn Slayer, which isn't that great, but considering it could be an upgrade this early into Hell, I figured I would mention it anyways. And then here for a bonus, we have run 101 / players 8 on Mephisto, and I find a super rare unique known as the Storm Spike. So overall, the run was pretty decent in terms of drops. We found a lot of stuff, an Oculus, a Geeds, a Lidless, even a Storm Spike, as well as, I think, something else, Steel Shade. But in terms of actual upgrades, something I can wear and improve my survivability and damage, nothing that great besides the Geeds. The Oculus is there just in case I die, but I already have one, so it's not as valuable as it could have been if it was the first one that dropped. So overall, not that impressive of a run in terms of upgrades, but pretty good in terms of valuable drops. Now, as you guys can see here, I'm showing you guys what the run basically looks like, and I also want to go over some of the notable drops. So the armor rack to the left almost always dropped an Avenger Guard, which is a Barbarian helmet. Additionally, it would sometimes drop a Paladin Shield. Those are the top two most common things that drop from the armor rack. In terms of the weapon rack, the Battle Cestus Assassin weapon would almost always drop as well. So if you're looking for a assassin weapon to make for the Whirlwind Runeward, the Battle Cestus may be a potential choice from that weapon rack, as you'll see in a second here. Now, in terms of the super chest, I found absolutely nothing of value. An occasional Ort or Ral rune, for example, as you can see, but other than that, nothing really valuable from the super chest. In terms of jewelry, I found 4 rings and 2 amulets. Nothing too special, you know, the typical Cathans or Siverbs, but the point is to mention rings and amulets do drop somewhat common, not nearly as common as Andariel would, but Mephisto does have his moments with the rings and amulets. And finally, in terms of essences, out of the 100 runs, I would find 9. So that's almost 1 every 10 runs in terms of the charged essences. Overall, that should conclude the 100 Hell Mephisto runs. I am kind of not really disappointed in the run here, but in general, I would like to see some upgrades, so I might come back and visit Mephisto in another video. We'll have to see. Let me know what you guys think of the 100 runs. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.